Let me know when you're set. Everyone get ready here. Everyone's in places. Action.
Kudos. I actually did direct that project. It has like probably getting close to over 10 million views now. You don't go from nothing to Phil Wickham, man. That's God. It's all about serving the team wildly so that they in turn serve the production, which then in turn serves the artist.
Yeah.
I grew up in this really like creatively protected environment, I think. And my dad did a really good job of shepherding that because he had a really unique perspective on life.
What's up, guys? My name is Ben Gluntz, and this is the Created to Create podcast, where we talk all things creative, all things business. And today we have Noah Taher on the podcast. He is a film director and a DP in the Christian music industry. He's based in Huntington Beach, California, and has worked on mid to high level projects ranging from music videos to live performances to documentary work for artists like Phil Wickham, for Brandon Lake, Cody Carnes, Carrie Job, Chris Tomlin, just to name a few. In a world of unoriginality and lack of inspiration, Noah brings a spark of pure genius and ingenuity to every production he's a part of.
Wow.
He's one of my closest friends, and it's a privilege to sit down and chat with him today. So I hope you all are as excited as I am to learn a few things from him. So Noah, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ben.
You're welcome.
Hello, everybody.
You got any hobbies?
Catching flights on time.
Yeah.
We're a couple minutes away from me needing to catch an Uber to the airport.
Which is the beauty of this. I think like we both are always on the move, traveling, on the go. To give you all a perspective, we're in Bali, Indonesia right now, which is pretty wild to even say.
I mean, it's perfect because traveling really is like a hobby of mine. I spend a lot of time with Ben traveling. I love photography when traveling because photography when traveling is a totally different thing than like directing it. Like I find a different enjoyment. It feels like a different hobby.
Yeah.
So the traveling, the food, the experience of people, it's like
it's relaxing.
This is one of my hoppies. So thanks for having me.
Oh, of course. We're gonna rapid fire some questions in here today and just kind of move this thing along. But hopefully it'll be helpful to people and encouraging to people, and we'll learn a few things.
Yeah.
So tell me one interesting thing about you that a lot of people don't know.
I'm pretty vocal about this, but my like favorite fun fact or thing that might make me a different person. My dad is from the Middle East, but I grew up in the USA. Mom's American. Love them both dearly.
Where in the Middle East?
He's from an island called Bahrain.
Oh, okay.
It's in the Persian Gulf. It's a small island, but it's like so awesome having a father that raised me with like. Well, when I was a kid, sometimes I would think like, oh, this is embarrassing. He doesn't really know how to be an American dad because he didn't know how to be an American dad. I love you, Dad, so much.
What is an American Dad?
I don't even know, the TV show. But like having that gave me so much creative permission, creative freedom to see the world differently. Whether I was being bullied or being adored for having like some different way of doing things, it gave me a lot of permission to just dismiss the status quo, I think. I was homeschooled growing up. I was a musician growing up. I was a nerd, video game kid. I learned how to edit videos doing Call of Duty montages.
Oh, no way.
So
that's something I didn't even know yet.
Yeah, it's just like I grew up in this really like creatively protected environment, I think. And my dad did a really good job of shepherding that because he had a really unique perspective on life. And his story is a story for a different time, but I'm really thankful for that. So that background gave me a different worldview and a different creative outlook, I think. So, yeah. And
kind of catapulted you, it seems, into what you do now.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Because I went from playing guitar, doing all this stuff, to being excited about the opportunity to move to California to play guitar for a worship team there, do some ministry there. The Circuit Riders, if anyone knows of them, they're awesome. They've gone on to be a massive part of like branding the Send, which is a large missionary kind of movement that points people towards mission fields around the world and more.
Yeah.
But to have a foot in the expression of music with them was awesome, but what God really did is take me through that and then plug me into the filmmaking side and the creative side of that. So what
Which
went from
is
like
where
this,
your career has really exploded.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So I learned so much from, like shout out to Andrew Boyer, just the video director of that spot. Like he him and then another guy by the name of Joseph Shaw were in that sphere with me, and those are the two guys that I probably have learned the most from, and they've given me the most chances. And in turn, now that God is blessing something that I'm doing, which is wild, I love bringing them into it anytime that I can.
Two very talented and very well respected men,
insane dudes.
And
so,
and to be able to like gain a lot of knowledge from them, and for them to be so open and share, I think that's a really cool even aspect to creative community and the ability to find that genuineness in people. So that's super awesome. What does it feel like to be one of the most trusted film directors in the Christian music industry?
It's just a weird feeling because it doesn't really feel like that's what's happening.
What does it feel like?
It just kind of feel like God ushered me down a road that was of him. This is something that, like, you know, the guys and I toss it around all the time, but Ephesians 3:20 in the Bible says that God is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine.
Yeah.
And when you put yourself in the box of a dream you might have versus just a path that God has, I don't know, it exploded. It wasn't anything that I tried to do. I met Phil Wickham in January, I think, of 2021 as a behind-the-scenes shooter at his music video for House of the Lord. And the immediate relationship and chemistry between me and Phil and his manager didn't make me think, oh, yeah, like I'll be directing his music videos next album. But like it was evident. And some of the context came from the preparation of time that I spent with circuit riders, where I was working as a self-funded missionary, in a sense, for 3 years. And so leading into that was all this sacrifice and all this time and all this, I don't know. So meeting Phil in that moment, and then for them to be like, hey, we want you part of our team for a season of you know, going on tour with them, and then to ask me to direct my first music video with Phil, which was crazy. I remember being so nervous. I was like, Phil, let's
how many music videos had you directed before that?
Like maybe one for a friend. Like you don't go from nothing to Phil Wickham, man. That's God, you know?
That is.
So I remember the nervousness of being like, and I still feel this, but like, I was like, Phil, this is awesome. Like, I'm so unbelievably flattered that you're asking me to direct a music video. And in my head, I'm trying to be professional, but I'm also freaking out.
Yeah.
I'm like, let's like, so that I don't die, like, let's hire another director. I'll DP this. Like, let me hold the camera. Let me edit it. Sure.
Yeah.
But to be the director scared me a lot, especially because I knew that it meant that in the run and gun project we were looking at doing, I was going to produce it too.
Yeah.
And
well, I'll even interject and say and like testify a little bit to that character that you have. I think being in a position like that and realizing, hey, this is above me right now. I have belief and faith in myself that I can get there, and clearly they do too. But this is above me. Let me step down, humble myself, and put myself under the direction of another person so that this project can be the best that it can be. I think that right there is even a quality of a good director, is someone who knows their role well and is able to do it. So even in not directing that project, you still knew to direct yourself to the right position. And I think that's a great start to any type of leadership, is knowing your role. So
well,
kudos.
I actually did direct that project. And
you did.
It has like probably getting close to, it's over 10 million views now. It's one of his most viewed music videos from that season, which is
Crazy.
Weird.
And how many videos have you directed since then?
About a dozen for the likes of Brandon Lake and Phil Wickham. They're under the same management. A guy named Brandon Breitenbach. He's an amazing manager and takes them to the next level, takes me to the next level constantly through challenges, not only just handing us a good hand, but like handing us an impossible one, and then being like, I'm going to tell you, you can do this so that we can go do more things that are impossible together. And that's what's crazy about that guy. And I love him. And I love that.
I love it. So,
man,
after shooting that many videos, what does it take to be a good director?
I constantly feel the same way about the first project when I was like, hey, let's hire a different director. I don't know if I even as a more experienced director than then, more experienced producer than then, it's like, I just went back to the drawing board and was like, I don't know how to be the best director, dude. Like some of the people I look up to and like the Vimeo staff picks guys and like you're looking at stuff that's just so mind blowing and the A24 films that are so well curated these days is like, I don't know how to make stuff that looks like that. I'm learning and like I want to get there and the creative abilities within me are growing. But the one thing I knew that I could do well, that I've just decided to defer to focus to that, because if the creative thing is just going to fulfill this, which is just from the story perspective, it's like, hey, my favorite part ever about working with Phil and Brandon is they write these songs of worship out of convictions in their own life. And I get to see that. I get to see that happen. And so if the video can just serve that purpose of encouraging churches that this is a song that people are connected to, that Phil's connected to, how can I make it feel genuine? You know, that's all taken care of. I work really collaboratively with Brandon and with Phil, and that's unique, and I love that. And it allows me to then take a step back and have like multiple hats without hurting the production. Like I'll produce in part, I'll direct, I'll DP a lot of times. And the closeness of all those roles and being in that is very collaborative. Phil and Brandon are both hands-on in these productions. They don't necessarily just show up to it all crafted. We all work together on it in the ideating and coming up with that. So then I'm just like, okay, well, if I don't have to be this like, and maybe one day that I will, but I just, this artsy director that has these insane visuals that blow people's minds. It's like, well, let me just do a couple of things to make sure everything looks good. Good cameras, good lights, good team. And then the team. It's like, that's what it's all about, and serving them. So from the call sheet and the way that I color code things and like very carefully place parking instructions and talk to people about invoicing and budgets and like just super openly and honestly, it's like, that's what Jesus would do, I think, is just be the most honest leader possible and know that I'm serving the production. And as a director, I'm not this like top of the totem pole dictator of, hey, this is how we're going to make stuff look cool because I'm here. It's like, okay, well, all these talented people and this talented artist decided to trust me with like putting this together. So all I'm doing is serving.
The privilege to coordinate skill and talent in a team. That's beautiful.
So it's really all about the team, and it's like the people that I've gotten to know. It's all about serving the team wildly so that they in turn serve the production, which then in turn serves the artist. And in my context, that has been like the most important part about feeling confident at all in a production environment, because at the end of the day, I don't know if there's ever been a creative concept that I really have felt like, oh wow, that was, well, there was one I finally kind of got there where I was like, oh, like we did something kind of cool. Like I looked around and thought, this is crazy.
Which one was that?
Brandon Lake, Coat of Many Colors.
That was shot in a quarry. Correct?
Shot in a rock quarry that was out of reach logistically to shoot in, but God made it work. And
that was a one-day shoot.
It was really cool. One-day shoot, 90 degrees. Had a trailer brought in, built everything. I mean, to people that do film set work, like that's nothing. But like, it was just a lot of work for me to produce that, direct that.
For a smaller budget.
Smaller budget for sure.
Smaller team. Can you speak really quickly about how important community is to you and how important finding genuine, unconditional community?
This is probably the perfect way to wrap this up, because I'm having to ask my good friend Ben to cut this interview short so I can properly assess my risk management.
I want to talk for hours, man. I want to talk for 2 hours.
Of getting to the airport in time. I feel like Casey Neistat used to do this stuff all the time. That's awesome. I love Casey Neistat. Community is like something I prayed for a long time. The moment I moved to California, I knew I was going to need to find like-minded people, and I did in the community I moved into. And then when I moved out of that community after COVID, being circuit riders, which they're all still there, and I have some of my greatest friends ever in circuit riders. But like knowing that I wasn't spending every day in that collaborative environment with them, praying for a new community was a daily thing. And I know that God gave that to me in the form of like people like you, Ben, people like the guys that I hang out with in California. There's people around the nation, in the US that I hang out with, around the world, Elliot. The most important thing to me is understanding that I have people around me that know how to celebrate me without any sort of judgment or thoughts of, I don't know, like envious or jealous thoughts. It's like, if I have a win, like I want to bring that to the table and be like, boys, let's get a drink. Like, let's celebrate. And I want to do that for them too. At the same rate as like, yo, I dropped the ball. This production was crap. Like, can someone please like Like I just needed to just go watch a good movie and like hang with the guys and be like, because I just feel like a failure.
Yeah.
And so whether I'm coming into a low or a high, I think sharing those moments with the people that matter most to you is part of what has catapulted me into this, like, okay, I can be confident in learning this and not be perfect at it yet. And go home and know that the most important thing, even before I have a family, like obviously my parents, brother, sister, but before I have like a wife and kids, like the best thing ever is going home after an amazing trip like this, after insane production days. The best thing is going home and knowing that I can go hang with the boys or the people that I live with, because I've invested in those relationships and they've invested back into me. And that's where real life is happening for me.
Yeah. And it's all about genuine like love and care and knowing the heart too of that person. And I think that's something that like is important in that community. And you touched on it perfectly. Like you need to know the heart of each other so that one, you can celebrate in the right way. And you can be like, 100%. Like you did this, like glory to God. And oh my gosh, like how did you do this? Like, that's crazy. Yeah. Knowing your character. And then like also like on the bottom end, just, whoa, like I messed up here. Like I need help. I need grace, forgiveness, whatever it is. And to be able to come to each other when we're at broken, you know? Yeah. So yeah, that's super beautiful. And I couldn't agree more, but
yeah, man, I'm living in a season of feeling like I'm in the middle of a lot of answered prayers right now, from friendships to work, and knowing that God is preparing me for something coming up and other things and things I wish I could talk about right now. It's just, it blows my mind. And so I hope to have longer combos with you again.
Me too. We have a lot to talk about.
I'm
excited for this podcast, and I'm excited that you were able to be a part of it in a small way at the moment, but in a bigger way, just from your support of it and your belief in it and belief in what God has to do. So, you know, even the fact that we're able to talk for 15 minutes or so and make this happen, it's a blessing, and I'm really excited. And yeah, congrats, you're episode 4 on Created to Create.
Wild. The short one.
The short one. We'll get a long one. We'll get a 3-hour one in season 2.
Yeah. Well, normally I'm the one who can't stop talking. So.
Well, Noah, thank you. Yeah, super blessed by you and super excited to see you continue to crush production after production. You know, even if God takes you in a different direction, which he does for all of us. I'm excited to see what you do and how you learn and grow and interact with people. And so thanks for coming on, bro. I hope you catch your flight and have a safe trip back over the Pacific Ocean. I can't believe I'm saying that right now.
I must catch my flight.
All right.
And
thanks,
that's
guys.
My camera, so
thanks, guys. That's a wrap from this one. It was a quick one, but a good one.
I gotta go shower.
Hey, tune in next time. Tune in next time, and we'll be back with another episode. See you guys. Peace.